you're going to be tuning into this weekend's fight, here's a tip. Check out my partners at DraftKings Sportsbook. Upgrade your fight experience this weekend with the official sports betting partner of UFC. Are you new to DraftKings? Check this out. New customers that bet just $5 will instantly get $150 in bonus bets. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use the code SONNEN. DraftKings, the crown is yours. That's right. New customers can bet just $5 on anything and receive $150 in bonus bets instantly. DraftKings is giving new customers a shot to get in on the action all night long. If sports betting is not yet available in your state, don't worry. DraftKings is the one-stop shop for all things daily fantasy where you have the chance to win cash prizes. Don't miss out on all the action this week at DraftKings. Download the DraftKings app today. Sign up using dkng.co/Sonnen or through my promo code SONNEN, only at DraftKings Sportsbook. All right, here we go. I've been waiting for this. Jamahal Hill. I have been waiting for this. I read a headline. Khalil Rountree is going to take on Pereira for the World Championship. I've been waiting to see what Jamahal had to say. I don't know this yet. Guys, I don't know this yet. I sat down, happened to be in front of you guys, but here it is. This is exactly what I can't believe what I just saw announced. So a guy pulls out of a contender fight because of failed drug test for a banned substance and gets rewarded with a title shot. This is terrible for the sport and makes the rankings completely pointless. All right, don't leave me here. Don't leave me here, X. No, there wasn't a follow-up. That's where we're at. All right. Where should we begin? So, and you must understand that is a scorned athlete. Like, the emotion that he's going to speak with, and you want to know something else when I talk about emotion? Maybe it's a truth. Maybe he speaks with a truth that others don't. But I will share with you. Guys, I'm going off memory here. But wasn't it Rountree was supposed to take on Hill? They were supposed to fight the night, the event where Anthony Smith ended up fighting. How close am I on that? It's not when Anthony fought Khalil, but it was the UFC 2 fights ago. And I was out there to support Anthony. Okay, that doesn't 302? It's very relevant, though, because I think that's what Jamahal's talking about. When he comes in and says, hey, wait a minute, you pull out of a contender's fight just to be rewarded. And Khalil Rountree Jr., first off, congratulations. I mean, I got to tell you, there's another side. Like, nobody's ever gotten a title shot in UFC history where the other guys that wanted the same thing didn't come out and show frustration. There's not anything unusual about this. I will just tell you, I knew Jamahal was openly pursuing and willing to do whatever came his way to get that very shot. So, at one point, Jamahal is supposed to fight Rountree. Guys, again, I know I'm on the top of my head, but I'm doing this math right now. At one time, it was Jamahal versus Rountree. It was June 29th, International Fight Weekend. That fight did not happen. Who pulled out? That's the part I can't remember. Because my memory tells me that it was Jamahal, but by Jamal's post here, it was Rountree, and it would be extremely relevant. If Jamahal was the one to pull off the fight, it would be extremely relevant to his point. You want to know what I didn't know? Jamahal, I apologize. Khalil Rountree Jr. Since when? When have we been doing Junior? I actually saw the Junior, Khalil Rountree Jr., and clicked on it thinking it might be somebody else. Have we been always saying Junior and I've just missed the JR? All right, so Khalil comes in, and by the way, he's been out for a suspension. Now, I don't think he was cheating. By the way, just to add that, cheating specifically is not going against the rules. It's having an intent to deceive and go against the rules. I don't think that's what happened here, but I'm just offering for you. He is coming off a suspension, And the general theme is, how can you come off of a suspension and go into a title fight? And I will just let you know, whether you like that concept or not, this didn't start with the UFC, and this didn't start with Rountree. For example, and just to give you a recent one, Sarkarian's on suspension right now, and everybody's waiting for that to get over so that he can fight Islam, which now looks to be delayed because of Islam Ham. But I'm just sharing with you, like, this didn't start with Jamal. Mike Tyson was suspended for something that happened with Evander Holyfield and had to work to get his license back so that he could get a fight with Evander Holyfield, and everybody stood by and waited. The same thing happened to Iron Mike Tyson. He ended up in there with Lennox Lewis. So it's not as though you can't come off of a suspension, but I will, in all fairness, tell you, this is a surprise to me. And it's a surprise because it pokes a hole in the balloon, right? It puts a hole in the boat of the idea that Chael had brought to you guys 3 days ago. That was simply, there is legs. There is some promise to Tom Aspinall and Alex Pereira. So I believed that Ankalaev was made the number one contender. I believed that Ankalaev had that fight at Madison Square Garden opposite Pereira. We end up reading that Ankalaev is going to go and do something else. Well, it's actually the one guy that can beat him. I don't know if I'm more excited for any light heavyweight fight right now. I want to see Rachik fight Ankalaev. That's the right fight. But as soon as that happened, it looked like, okay, Pereira's dance card cleared up. And then the timeline was really great because you also have the narrative going on over here by Joe Rogan with some massive voice. And then Dana's even coming out publicly and sharing conversations that he's had with Joe Rogan that nobody knew about. And that's just a really good way to keep that conversation going. Now you got Joe talking about it, and you got Dana talking about it. Joe was talking about it. Right? It's going in that direction. Oh, by the way, Aspinall goes in and fights Curtis Blades, and all of a sudden Aspinall is free. So this is how I'm working through that math. Wow, what a massive fight. And one of the other reasons I came to the conclusion that there was and I did tell you guys how small it was, but one of the reasons I came to the conclusion that Tom and Pereira, the idea is still alive, is because there's nothing else you'd rather see Tom do, and there's nothing else you would rather see Pereira do. We're not going to get that. We're going to get it. We're going to be Khalil going in there. And interesting match, by the way. It's an interesting match. Khalil Rountree has very quietly risen to this spot. I mean, Khalil has had the majority of his fights. He's won 5 of his last fights, 4 of them by stoppage. 1 of them over perennial top contender Anthony Smith. So it's not as though we can't give him his due, but he has done the majority of his work on non-pay-per-views. That's also true. So I have a feeling there will be some pushback to this because of the surprise factor. But if you stand back and you see everything, I think you'd be a little less surprised. I'll bet the majority of you didn't know that he's won his last 5, or that he's had stoppages in his last 4, including over top contenders. I'll bet that you didn't know that. So that's the direction that is going to move in. Tom is claiming he's not going to fight until it's an undisputed shot. That will not happen. Absent illness or injury, of course. That will not happen until roughly International Fight Weekend of next year. So July of next year, roughly. And if Tom truly is holding out for an undisputed title shot, he's fighting Jon Jones. And I'm not certain that Tom is aware of that. I'm not certain. Like, for example, Tom has done a very few things because he's a polite and a gentleman. It just doesn't work within his code of sportsmanship, right? And his father's with him at all times. So it's kind of important, like, I think you guys would be a little more sensitive too if your father was standing there. Can we agree? But I share this with you because Tom has done a couple of things to get the fight with Jon Jones, but they're light. I mean, he damn sure hasn't gone out and picked a fight. And I don't think he's going to. I will just offer for you, I'm not certain that he understands that Jon Jones is next. I'm not sure that Tom understands well enough what's happening. Very few people do. I know that our media does not. Stipe is going to retire, win or lose against Jon. That's the piece. That's the piece right there. But that would mean if Stipe was to beat Jon, the title becomes vacated, of which obviously Jon would fight for. Obviously, Tom, as interim champion, would fight for. So, win or lose, Tom's next fight is against Jon, if in fact he holds to the code of undisputed championship. Let's see where that all plays out. I would not have predicted this light heavyweight fight. We get surprises all the time. Perhaps Tom's working on something that we don't yet know about.